What, sorry? Peter Kay was sold out, so you had to come here. Yeah. Unlucky. I bet he wouldn't have called you a cunt. Unfortunately, I'm not Peter Kay. Cunt. It's a very different kind of show. Peter's show's good too. Any other heckles? My crisps tasted rubbish. Oh. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. I became Latino there for a second. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. I had crisps. Did you see I had crisps? Jimmy Carr crisps. The good people at Walker's, for comic relief, they brought out a flavour of my crisps, and it was me and Al Murray and Frank Skinner and Stephen Fry, and then they made these crisps, and every packet they sold, they gave 5 pence to the starving people in Africa. And I said to them, why don't you just send them the fucking crisps? It's got to make more sense, hasn't it? Because they can't be as fussy about the flavours. If you're starving, you're fine, aren't you? Well, these are a bit, nah, fair enough. Any other heckles? When's the comedy on? When's the comedy on? Really? What's your name, sir? What's your name?
David.
David? What's your favourite colour, David?
Blue.
Blue, okay. Seems like the fairest way to deal with you, David. There are so many things I could say. Number between 1 and 8, David.
6.
6. Okay, and you said to me, when's the comedy on? Well, it says, if you want my comeback, you'll have to scrape it off your mum's teeth. These things don't lie, David. These things don't lie. Nah, I'm kidding. She swallowed the lot. Wow. Any others? What, sorry? I've got a big nose. I literally don't have a big nose. That's a weird that's like an insult you've heard someone else use. And you've gone, I got a big fucking laugh. That's going to work best with a comic with a big nose. What's your name, sir? Thomas. What do you do, Thomas? You're a student. What are you studying? Mathematics? Are you at school, Thomas? I don't know if we should continue this any further, because it's starting to feel like grooming. Are you at school?
Yeah, I'm at school. You got a big nose.
I haven't. Any other heckles? Some thoughts for you. When you think about it, a rhino is just a unicorn that didn't moisturize. Gillette claims to be the best a man can get. What about a blowjob from twins? Whatever happened to Jedward? My girlfriend turns to me. There's some sex scandal in the news of the world, as there invariably is. And my girlfriend turned to me and went, I hope I never find out you're having an affair. I said, me too. You can be the moral arbiter on this one, Birmingham, right? You be the moral arbiter on this one this evening. I've got a friend, he got dumped by his girlfriend. She ended their relationship just because he said something. They were making love, they were mid-coitus, fucking. As he orgasmed, as he arrived, ejaculated, came, the most intimate, but also the most vulnerable time for a man, as that occurred, he said, bang, and the dirt is gone. I can see two distinct groups of men. There's some men looking at me as if to say, I don't think that's that bad. I I think maybe she's overreacted a little bit. And then I can see other men looking at me as if to say, note to self. You've got to be very careful with jokes in the bedroom, because it's quite funny to say to a girl who's sucking you off, it's rude to talk with your mouth full. But it's even funnier if she says, well, it's not full. The speed men shave in adverts. If I shaved at that kind of speed, my balls would be in shreds. When I was told I was bipolar, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. A friend of mine's got OCD. For those of you that don't know, OCD is an abbreviation. It's just a shorter, quicker way of saying, I'd be a really annoying girlfriend. True story. Are there any couples in this evening? Give us a shout, the couples. Oh, lots of couples in tonight. This is a bit silly, I think, but for Valentine's, I got my girlfriend sex vouchers as her present. I didn't realise they were transferable. Turns out they accept them at her work. You get to the stage in a long-term relationship where you want to experiment sexually, but, you know, it can be awkward. And what if she finds out? First dates are very delicate. Is anyone on a first date this evening? Is anyone on a first date? No? On your own? Seems a little bit suspect, doesn't it? We're going somewhere very special. Sorry, I realise women don't masturbate. You just expect us to believe you really enjoy baths. Well, well, good luck if you're on a first date. You see, first dates are very delicate, because if you call her the next day, she'll think you're too keen, she'll be put off. If you never phone, she'll think the worst of you. So what I do as a compromise is I phone her the next day and call her a slag. Sometimes you can sense a friend wants to take things further. Will it ruin the friendship? Things get hot and heavy on the sofa one night, you think, this doesn't feel right. You're my best friend. You're not even allowed on the couch. Bad dog, town boy. Did I say down boy? I've made it gay. My girlfriend can't have orgasms during intercourse, but it's not a problem because I can. I gave my girlfriend an orgasm and she spat it back in my face. When my first girlfriend choked to death, it was a terrible blow. I had to finish myself off. I said to my girlfriend, I said, you want to experiment with a role-play rape fantasy? She said, no. I said, that's the spirit. Rape is such a horrible word, though. It's such a harsh, brutal, awful word. Rape. That's why I prefer to call it a struggle snuggle. You couldn't stay mad at a struggle snugglist, could you? Bloody adorable. Oh, what was that? That sounded good. Go on, what was that? What was it? I'm a paedophile. I was just fucking chatting to him. I've done nothing. Any others? Yes. Dad? I've got a Muslim friend who's really religious. Feel the tension in the room. I've got a Muslim friend who's really religious. He knows the Quran backwards, which is handy because that's how you read it. Surprisingly well-informed and inoffensive joke about the Islamic faith. And that's because I'm not a fucking idiot. What are the Christians going to do? Forgive me? Good luck with that. Speaking of Christians, any Catholics in? Got a few Catholics? Catholics are a weird bunch. Look at the rosary. Basically, anal beads. Having sex with someone at work is all right, as long as you don't work in a primary school. I've got a friend who's a part-time teacher. Well, they're all part-time. Are there teachers in? Come on, it's your own time you're wasting. Where are the teachers? Give us a shout, the teachers. And what was it that first attracted you to children? Not all teachers, obviously, that would be mental, but PE teachers, they're wrong-uns. You know what PE is short for? Pedo. It's a fact. You can look that up. You know why so many American kids die in high school massacres? It's because they're not allowed to run in the corridors. Take your time with that, that's wrong on a number of levels. I don't know if you've noticed this, Birmingham. It's very difficult to get the first kiss right. You want to be firm, but gentle. You want to be manly, but you don't want to wake her up. Health. Let's talk about health. That's important, isn't it? I heard that because of women putting on so much weight during pregnancy, it's a good idea to take off your wedding ring. So I did. Posh Spice, Victoria Beckham, she's so thin she's got to be careful when she has a bath, because if the water's too hot, she could turn into stock. Obese children put a lot of strain on the NHS, not to mention seesaws and swings. You know, if things carry on as they are, it's predicted that in 40 years' time, the average toddler will be 43. I think you know your doctor isn't great if the STI check is a taste test. My girlfriend used to smoke after sex, so we started using lubricant. I was in bed with a girl recently. She said, I want tonight to be magical. And it was. After I fucked her, I disappeared. I was doing a gig last year in Cardiff. And front and centre, this guy, front and centre where you're sitting there, madam, out of nowhere, 20 minutes into the gig, he just went, dragon. So there wasn't a massive pause before he said dragon. That was just to let you know what happened there. In my head, I had to go, whose coat is that jacket? To get it started in my head. But 20 minutes in, he just went, dragon. I went, what? He went, dragon. I went, yeah, but what do you want? He went, I'd like a joke about a dragon, please. And he said it like I was the cunt for turning up in Wales without any dragon-based humour. So in the interval, I felt duty-bound to go and write a joke about a dragon. Do you want to hear my dragon joke? Yes. OK. 2 dragons walk into a pub. Don't panic, John, it makes sense. Brilliant. Oh, I love John. I'm just imagining a funeral called, you know, what do they call it when the funeral, when all the cars? Procession, yeah, funeral procession with drum and bass. Has your hearse got blue lights underneath it? I think that'd be quite good, that looking like it was haunted. Who the fuck has a side party? You're going to kick yourself when I tell you. Me. I've had an idea of how to prop up our currency, the pound, against the euro and the dollar. What we do is we print new pounds, and this time the Queen is smiling. And if things get really bad, tits out, Your Majesty. Little joke for you. What do you get if you cross the Queen and Prince Philip? Killed in a tunnel. Too soon? It's been 14 years, get over it. I got into an argument with my ex, and in the middle of the argument, she went, "What kind of an idiot do you take me for?" I couldn't resist. I went, "A fat one?" In my defense, she was fat. She didn't get a suntan, she got crackling. She was legally required to make a beeping noise when moving backwards. She wasn't that big when we got together, but she bloomed. I mean, I've seen girls put on weight before, but she took the biscuit. On the plus side, just a nicer way of saying it. I quite like a euphemism. Of course, the classic euphemism is if someone's gay, instead of saying gay, you would say, "He's a friend of Dorothy's." If someone's really fat, I like to say, "He's a friend of Greg's." I'd like to talk about a sex act that I don't fully understand. Are you all familiar with the 69, yes? No, I like the 69 as much as the next man. Hoping he isn't man, that'd be terrible. I like the 69, but I don't really understand it because it's an incredibly intimate thing to do with another human being. But how does the 69 ever occur? It only ever happens when the man says to the woman, "Would you do that thing that I like?" And the woman goes, "Yeah, all right, but only if you do that thing that I like." And the man goes, "Not a problem, away you go." And the woman says, "No, because the last time I did the thing that you liked, you were a little bit sleepy afterwards. You fucked off to sleep. You said, we'll call it a 68. It's like a 69, but I owe you one." I like everything about the 69 apart from the view. Well, there are inequalities between the sexes, and I think it's universally acknowledged men get an easier deal in our society than women. But I can think of an example where men get a very raw deal. You know, early on in a relationship, before you live together, when you're just kind of staying over each other's houses, very exciting phase in a relationship. In the history of the world, no man has ever been staying over at a girl's house and found a vibrator in her bedside drawer, and there's been a problem. There is only one reaction on record, and that is as follows. "Oh, hello. Cheeky. What is she like?" But when she finds a latex vagina in your sock drawer, there is hell to pay. Explanations must be made. I say sock drawer, it's actually the office. I say latex vagina, it was the receptionist. I tell you what, let's talk about religion. That couldn't possibly upset anyone. If Jesus is the way, and to be a Christian is to be in Christ, then aren't all Christians just in the way? Jesus says he loves me, but I worry about the age gap. Now you'll notice out of deference and respect to our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ, I've let him bum me. Have any of you seen my impressions? Have you seen any of my impressions before? I don't do many. I do a few. I'll do one for you now. Are there any lesbians in? Does anyone enjoy smashing pasties? Huh? Are there any lesbians? There must be some lesbians, surely. What is there, a pool tournament on? Well, where are the lesbians? You up there somewhere? Oh, there's some lesbians up there. Are there lesbians over here? Hello, girls. How are you? You all right? Very nice to have you in. The impression that I do, it's more a piece of physical theatre than an impression per se. But it's the... hang on, the cameraman's coming to get the lesbians. It's more a piece of physical theatre than an impression, but it's actually, it's the breakup of a same-sex relationship between two women. And I think it captures the emotional turmoil and the anguish when love breaks down. When you still love that person, but you're no longer in love with that person, and you've got to go your separate ways. Would you like me to perform it for you now? Okay. Just give me a second here. Yeah, what did you think was going to happen? I feel duty bound now. What's your name, madam? What? Sharal. Okay, fine, Sharal. Sure, we'll go with Sharal. And who are you with? Who's the other half? Rosie. Hi. I feel duty-bound to ask you the question I've asked every lesbian I've ever met. What would it take to get you back on solids? Oh, I got a maybe, yes. I'm 2 Bacardi Breezes away. Come on. Keys to the city, that's a weird thing, isn't it, the keys to the city? Of course, they don't have that in Liverpool, do they? You just get given a coat hanger. As a fashion statement, Socks with Sandals says, I'm either a German, a paedophile, or a cunt. Quite possibly, all three. Apologies to any paedophiles or cunts we have in. There's not going to be any Germans at a comedy gig. I had a super awkward moment on stage recently. So I was on stage doing a gig. I said, any questions? And someone went, are you ever going to have children? I said, I don't want to make you feel bad about asking, but my girlfriend and I actually can't have children. The way we do it. It's no use trying the other way because you can't get pregnant in the mouth either. Are there any parents in? We got any parents? Give us a shout, parents. Yeah. Has anyone got parents? Yeah. If you had to think about that, you're an idiot. Only point about parents is all parents have got a favourite. If your parents told you they didn't have a favourite, all it means is you weren't it. Unless you're an only child. If you're an only child and your parents went out of their way to tell you they didn't have a favourite, that is bad. With her last child, Angelina Jolie had a very difficult delivery. She wasn't in and had to pick it up from the sorting office. If all the veins in your body were laid out in a straight line, you would die. Let's talk about some social issues. My neighbour is noisy and nosy. He's always banging on the walls, shouting, is anyone there? I've fallen, is anyone there? It's none of your business if anyone's here. Still, he's gone quiet now. Right, let's try some rude stuff, see how we get along. Lady wind. Queefing. Fanny farts. The expulsion of air from the vajayjay during sexual intercourse. A cunt grunt. There are 2 main responses when a queef occurs. Some couples, it doesn't matter how gnarly or squelchy the noise, they deny the queef. Did you hear anything? No, I didn't hear anything. And they move on. Some couples, it's a funny little noise, they have a little giggle, they move on. Not a problem. I like to go a third way. I like to pretend the vagina is talking to me. What's that? There's a boy trapped down a well. I like to think of myself as the vagina whisperer. What happened? Are you getting a phone call? There's a Scottish lady getting a phone call. I imagine the drugs are arriving any moment. You all right? You switched it off and it rang anyway? Well, I'm not buying that fucking story. Don't worry, it's okay. It's only a phone. Don't feel bad. It's a what, sorry? It's a late alarm to come and see me. Or come and see me an hour fucking late. You're not the one I booked for the interval, are you? I was traumatized as a child. Our priest was cheating on me. I just want to reach out to people that attempt suicide and say, come on, have another go. In a long-term relationship, it's important to be a good listener. I think she's asleep. I might pop downstairs for a wank. You're familiar with the phrase, fuck buddy. Have you all heard the phrase, fuck buddy? Yes? I've got a friend that didn't know what that meant. I used it in a conversation, and he didn't know what it meant. I had to explain what a fuck buddy was. I said, it's like a friend you have regular sex with. He said, well, how's that different from a normal relationship? I said, they're your friend. And you have regular sex with them. It's like the opposite of a normal relationship. I found out the hard way. There's a big difference between hanging out with a mate's girlfriend and hanging out of a mate's girlfriend. It's a lovely turn of phrase. I could get a job on Sky Sports. Childhood is now effectively over by 11, which is when the pubs close and Uncle Terry gets home. Oh, Uncle Terry. It's very difficult to get dirty talk right. Have you noticed this? It's very difficult to get dirty talk right. Like in a long-term relationship, it's fine, because you know where your boundaries are, you know your partner. But on a one-night stand, fraught with danger. I've got a story concerning a friend of mine. He's quite good at pulling. We were all at a party together, and he pulled a girl that none of us knew. Ended up back at her place that night having sex. Well done him, high five. So he told us the story the next day. He said she started it. They were having sex. She said, "Talk dirty to me." Or more accurately, "Talk dirty to me." So from the Rolodex of filth in his head, he came forth with this. And this would be fine for many of the ladies here. Within the confines of the bedroom, within the boudoir, this would be an okay thing to say. With a long-term, loving, trusting partner. On a one-night stand, maybe not. He said, "You love it, you slut." She said, "I'm not a slut." And there was a very awkward moment. Awkward as moments can be when you've just insulted someone you're balls deep in. He apologized profusely, needless to say, and they moved on. I imagine there's a story there, madam. Well, you know how when you've got a phrase you're not meant to say, it's all you can think to say? It's on the tip of your tongue. So like 2 minutes later, right, my friend, he somehow lost track of what he wasn't meant to say, says it again. "You love it, you slut." She said, "I'm not a slut." And he got into an argument with her. He didn't mean to. It was like a reflex. When she said, "I'm not a slut," for the second time, he went, "Well, we have just met." She said, "You don't know me." He said, "Well, that just proves my point."
Hello, I'm Jimmy Carr. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Now, there's a scientific theory that states you laugh 30 times more when you're in a room with other people than when you're watching something on a screen. So why not come and see me live? It's jimmycarr.com for tickets, and I'm pretty much everywhere. See you then.